Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie, and this is the 1915 Challenge.
If you've been following the channel for a little while, you already know how we feel about Old Forester's Whiskey Row line, especially 1910 and 1920, some of our absolute favorite whiskeys on the shelf. And we've been getting messages from people ever since we started doing videos saying you have to try the 1915, you have to blend them together because 1920 and 1910 together are better than 1910 and 1920 independently. So today,
it's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. So we have a 1915, which is an even blend of 1910 and 1920. We also have a High Rye version. Steve Padua commented on one of our YouTube videos that he prefers to add 25cc of Old Forester Rye to the 300cc blend of 1915. So we have a High Rye version. We have a 1915 even blend. We've got 1910, 1920. We're gonna put them against each other today.
Yeah, whenever Old Forester's on the menu, this one is happy.
I'm pretty happy about it. This is not a blind tasting. We know what we're drinking.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical, but I'm excited to try this. Let's start on the right here. This is the 1910. We have them in order that you see them here. So we're gonna start with the 1910 and cheers. On the nose, bananas, chocolate, beautiful oak. That Old Forester profile ramped up because it gets added to a secondary barrel. Just tons of flavor in this one.
That was a dramatic pause for effect right there, because I just think it's so delicious. The caramel, you get that little hint of cherry. I didn't get a lot of banana on this one, but I know it'll be coming.
Yeah.
You know, a little oakiness. It's just a nice, balanced, delicious, easygoing.
The mouth feels incredible.
Yeah,
This is a top-notch bottle, and we raved about it since day one when we first got it a year ago.
I
We
smell
love this
the
one.
bananas on that second one. Real sweet candy,
Oh,
which is probably why I like it so much.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
93 proof for the 1910, 115 proof for the 1920. So we're gonna run the gamut here today, but by mixing them half and half, that makes our proof 104 on the second glass here.
You're asking the wrong person.
Anyway, somewhere in there. I'm not great with math, so you got to see me do math today. Congratulations. Let's go all the way to the end. Let's do the 1920 now.
And if this screws it up, we'll just take some water and start over.
We'll start over. What could be the harm in just drinking all of this today?
This one smells really good.
It's just
Just
terrific.
a deeper, like a
cigar, rolling paper,
Yeah.
tobacco.
I'm getting some like burnt sugar. Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
It's so good. Okay, so that one is so good as well. It's interesting because they are completely different tastes. You know, this is like bright and lively and sweet and delicious, and then this one is like darker and
I say it all the time.
I don't know. Yeah.
This is bourbon.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's the flavor of bourbon. I love this one. I love the 1920.
Norman showed up, wanted to see what all the fuss was about.
You can tell we're a little concerned today about where this one's gonna go.
If we have a new favorite, I'm not going to be upset about it.
No,
Ooh, this one is quite a bit warmer, a little cinnamon, but like a lot of spices on this one. It's yummy.
I love the finish on this one. I love the way it lingers on my breath. The mouthfeel, the way it coats. Oh, it's just so good.
So you said at the beginning that you were skeptical that this could live up to it. Now that I've sat on that word a little bit longer, tasted both of these, I'm a bit skeptical because it'll be, hopefully, a completely different experience with the 1915, but maybe it's like the best of both worlds. Who knows?
It could be. And for those of you that are watching this that are going, that 1920 is just too hot for me. 115 proof, it's too much. Maybe this is what you do. You just go buy 2 bottles instead of 1. Are you ready to move on to the 1915? Is that what we're doing?
Oh yeah, sorry.
Okay.
It comes across a little sweeter to me.
Yeah, this smells a little bit like 1920, a little bit like 1910. Isn't that a fascinating note? Are you surprised by that?
But it does have a little bit of a proof, like you can tell it's not the 1910, because in 1910 you don't really get any proof or anything on the nose, but I'm getting a little bit of proof on there, so that's probably a testament to that 1920.
The nose on the 1910 to me can sometimes be just a little bit cloying, a little bit overly sweet. This is somewhere in the middle, exactly like it should be.
Yeah.
Let's give it a shot.
All right. Very cherry forward for me.
This to me is somehow hotter than anything else on the table. I don't know why this would be hotter than the 1920, but this one's so weird because the upfront I'm not crazy about, but the finish is remarkable. But then I just keep thinking the finish on each one of those individual bottles is remarkable. This,
I'm gonna say, is a little child of both of these. I mean, I can taste flavors of both of them in this glass.
That's the thing. We blended these about a month ago. You want to let them sit, get to know each other a little bit in there, and we've shook them every so often to make sure to wake them up, make sure that they're playing nicely and all that. The thing about this is, as much as I like the nose, like the flavors, like the finish, it's not super cohesive. And I suppose that's why this doesn't exist right now in a bottle from Old Forester already.
What I like about the 1910, it's just dessert in a glass. It's just so good. The 1920 for me, just a little bit of a higher proof. I love it, but it's not as easy to drink as the 1910, and it's not supposed to be.
Sure.
So that's what is interesting about this one. Like, I feel like I get more 1920 out of this glass than I get of 1910, but it's probably just based on that proofiness that I'm tasting.
I think you're right, and I also think that I prefer it that way. I think too much 1910 would be
Too sweet?
too chocolatey, too sweet, too much of that maybe.
I just did a 1910 here. I got like super maple syrup now on this one.
Agreed. Totally agree.
I mean, it was unexpected because normally, I mean, we always take a little bit like Bananas Foster's kind of thing. And now it's like, oh yeah, when you have that little thing of maple syrup and you just throw it right on top.
I've been actively trying not to drink too much 1920 because it's real easy to reach for it every single day. At $60 a bottle, it's not really a daily drinker, at least not for me. And every time I revisited one of these challenges, I go, you got to put that away for a while because I could just keep on going in that glass. I love it.
I know that people say the 1915 is the ticket, but I now just drank all three of them, and I'm kind of like, I still love the 1910.
Yeah.
I still like the 1920. The 1915, maybe I need to let it grow on me a little bit more. It is taking elements of both that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
But like the reason you enjoy each one is for those flavors alone, and when you combine them, it kind of, I don't know, like, is that a weird like thing to say? Like, it kind of like...
I like ice cream and I like pizza. When I put them together, I can still taste both of them and it's not that great. So the ice cream pizza is a bad example, but the point is, you taste them independently while you're eating them together, and it doesn't make the experience any better.
I think the 1915 is great. I'm not sure if it really adds anything to the drink, though.
They're different enough that this is like mixing two things that to me don't really go that well together, but
I mean, I do like it.
I like it. Yeah. There is one glass left though.
There is.
The 1915 High Rye, right here in an Eagle Rare bottle because it's the only one we had available.
This feels like such a weird combo. Like, not only are you doing those two, but now you're throwing in that Old Forester Rye, which we love, but that's going to add a nice element of spiciness, I think.
I think so. You know, the thing about the Old Forester Rye is that it's a barley rye. There's a lot of malted barley by percentage, so it's so sweet by itself, and it's such a cherry candy bomb. It could contribute something really nice to this.
Their noses are quite different.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is the 1915 now on the nose is floating more towards the 1910 sweeter profile, whereas this one with the rye, even though we know it tastes like Jolly Ranchers, it's going to be really super cherry. Maybe not, we'll see. But on the nose, I feel like it's floating more towards this way, but there really is a sweet element there underneath.
Let's taste this one. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I gotta give a shout out to Steve Padua for giving us the recommendation on this. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, by the way, Steve. But thank you for the recommendation because
I liked that first sip.
This, in my mind, considerably better than the regular 1915. That was a good tip.
I feel like the flavors get a little bit muddied in this one. Like, we're almost trying to do too much. Each flavor isn't like a real crisp thing.
But that's what I like about it.
But it is.
It's more cohesive.
I like it, yeah.
I feel like this is a better blend, whereas the 1915 by itself, everything's kind of sticking out. It's kind of stabby. Depends on wherever it's at on your palate, you're getting different things.
You're like, oh, that one goes on this side, that one goes on that side.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like your taste buds are the sorting machine at the post office, and they're just pulling things out, whereas this, the 1915 High Rye, it's much more cohesive to me. I definitely prefer this to the 1915 that is just the blend of the two.
This one is interesting. You get a little bit of the proof from the 20. It's got like a nice little undertone of heat. It pulls out the cherries from the 1910, but on a different level, because we always say like this one is Cherry Jolly Ranchers all the way, the rye. So that almost elevates that cherry. Yeah, I don't know. This is
so now the nose on the 1910 is so wide open now. Anything that we thought.
I'm sorry, but that 1910 nose is like the best.
Anything that we were having trouble smelling on here before, now it's all right there. It's at the forefront. The finish on the High Rye, wow. It's great. I just went back and forth with the 1910 a couple of times. That finish is incredible.
So for me, it's the 1910 all the way. And then I'm going 1920.
Yeah.
And then I actually prefer the High Rye version over the standard 1915. I like this edition of the High Rye.
You and I are on the same page. 1920 for me comes in first.
Is your number one?
I love it. 1910 is an easy choice for me for second.
Yeah.
That's such a fantastic bottle. 1915, the High Rye. Again, that's the one that I think is interesting. And
I thought it was real
it's
interesting.
flavorful and it's palatable and it's smooth and it's beautiful. And the spikiness of the 1915, it doesn't do anything for me really. It was a fun thing to try. I actually think maybe I'll put a splash of the rye in that one too, because there's no sense keeping it just as 1915.
Well, I mean, if people, maybe other people want to try it.
I don't want to see people. So we're on the same page.
Yeah.
The individual bottles are better than the blends. I think if you want to do this,
in our opinion.
Yeah, in our opinion, it's worth a shot to do it yourself. I think if you happen to have the bottles around and you feel like messing around and you want to play scientist for a day.
I'll say I'm a little relieved because I was like, oh gosh, now we're gonna have to buy both bottles and then mix them together and then buy replacement bottles to replace the
we buy so much of this whiskey row already. Every time I turn around, we're out of the 1910 or the 1920. It's a monthly purchase at the very least for us. Yeah, I'm glad that we're not going to be doing that again in the future. It was a fun thing to try. And thank you to everybody for the idea. We've gotten this recommendation from so many people. Obviously, there are people out there that swear by this 1915. Doesn't do anything for me.
And we have a lot left. So if we revisit it, say in another month or 2 or 3, maybe we'll change our mind and we'll let you know.
Maybe.
You never know.
If we change our mind, we will let you know. There's nothing else for me to say. I'm going to go back. I'll probably just wind up blending all these together and drinking them as one pile just to see how it goes.
Just one pile?
Yeah.
Just one pile of bourbon. So you can't go wrong with the, Old Forester in general. The 1910 and the 1920.
Totally agree. This was a fun experiment. We hope you had a good time. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time.
Yeah, me too. If you liked this video, click the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get a notification every time we publish a new video. Like, comment, subscribe, and from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. Get yourself some Old Forester.